So I've been watching some debates ongoing in the webs, and I saw the Texas government stance on abortion. They declared it illegal. Well, good luck with that. Like people don't do whatever they want. I mean, how is the war on drugs going? Anyway, bad comparison because one thing is personal choice, and another thing is choice that affect other lives rather than just the persons. So there's that. Um, and this is the angle, this is the perspective I wish to infer in this, if we can call it conversation, that is not, because conversation implies mutual understanding. And what we have is one side trying to make the right decisions. And in this case, much to my surprise, is the government. And you all know how much I love the government. So, and the other side is just screeching a really lousy mantra. Um, I am not sure they are thinking rationally about what they are saying, because the other side presents three arguments. Arguments. Uh, they are not. They are not. They are really like, they are basically really, really, really lousy slogans. They are. So the followers of the lousy slogans in that case, I'm not sure they are thinking about what they are saying. Because the first argument is my body, my choice. And that would make sense. It would make perfect sense if they would be talking indeed about their bodies, which they are not. They are talking about the right to murder another body, because the body of the unborn child is still a body. And I think, based on the logic of the thing, that this unborn child, that it is a child unborn, we can debate, oh, it's a baby, it's a fetus, it's a human being that is unborn that wishes pretty much to live. Otherwise, it wouldn't be getting the nutrients from the womb and all that. So I believe it wants to live. Otherwise, it would be a miscarriage, which it was not. One thing is abortion, the other thing is miscarriage, and that's it. So I believe that this unborn human um, wants to live. So if the argument is my body, my choice, then the body of this unborn human chooses to live. So let it live. Do you understand? I hope you understand. I know you believe that if you screech hard enough or you just play denial, it somehow makes you right, which it doesn't. You are just not thinking about what you are saying. Because what you are saying, you are actually giving the argument that the child should live. Because after all, it's the child's body, it's not yours. So the child's body, or the unborn human's body, not your body, their choice. So you got to respect their choice based on your very argument. I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you. You are not thinking about what you're saying. Because if you would be thinking, you would realize you are giving this unborn human, regardless the stage of where it finds itself, human. Oh, but you use it, so even you believe. No, no, no. I am a foreigner. I have that excuse, okay? Bear with me. Point being, don't try to run away, to slip through the tangents. No, 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 no. Topic being your very argument that if it is your body, your choice, then it's the unborn human's body, it's his or her choice. He used the two genders. Well, you get the point. I could use Z, body, Z choice. Would that make you happy? Good, good. You you're a well indoctrinated person. And no, you're not. That makes you a terrible person by default because you're not thinking. You're just following orders. Remember the Nazi soldier excuse. Oh, I was just following orders. Why am I being tried? Well, you kind of follow orders to kill other human beings, so this is why you're being tried. No, I'm not saying that you will be tried for that because I'm baffled in how how much people from a certain gender, and I know some of you probably won't realize what gender, you will think it's the other gender, but no, it might be yours, just saying, can get away with in our society, you know. They literally declared men and boys not to be victims of rape for 30 years. For 30 years. So if you are wondering why women are not statistically showing so much as men and boys as rape perpetrators, it's because of those 30-year gaps where activist lawyer who happened to be a woman managed to walk into Congress and get her vote, get Congress to decide so much about gender oppression. Huh? One person of a certain gender managed to change for 30 years to remove the rights from men and boys of being declared victim of rape. You could be considered victim of abuse if you were a man or a boy, but not of rape. You wouldn't be raped if it was a woman, you see, because they don't have a penis. Therefore, it is not rape. So if they stick you with an iron rod, if they put which were some examples of rape, if they stick a rose thing with thorns into a man or a boy's bum, it is not. It is still while performing sex. It's still not rape, you see, because it was done even if it was against their will. Because you see, they didn't have a penis, therefore not rape. That was the argument, and somehow one person managed to push that argument into an entire Congress for 30 fucking years. So let that sink in. For 30 years. So if you're wondering that mostly men are rape perpetrators because the statistics show, there is that little gap about statistics there for you. They were removed, women were removed from the thing by law, arbitrary law, for 30 years. So talk about persecution, huh? So bear with me. It's not your body, your choice. So that argument, you know, you're actually giving the other side a good argument. So if you want to keep your rights to abortion, you should avoid that screeching mantra because you're not thinking about what you're actually saying. Then there is the other argument that, what was it? Oh yes, the government. The government should give more because after all, why don't the government, you say that you care, the government say it cares, but why don't the government do more for children then? Why don't they sustain them? Why are there so many poor children? Do something about the poverty of the children. First of all, as much as I hate or despise, because hate would imply ignorance, would imply like an irrational reaction, which is not. It is a very rational reason for not agreeing with everything government does. They should be held accountable. However, the argument is this argument, which is really not, because it's easily proven to be wrong. Anybody with just some speck of understanding about our laws know that children, like governments, actually pay for each child. Many governments, at least in the West, pay for each child that is born. You receive a certain amount of money. You receive in many countries they in like for instance Brazil, they for the 3 first months they provide, the government provides, I think it has been stretched to 6 or a year, I'm not sure, but they provide literal food for the children if the mother cannot breastfeed and all that. The government provides the necessary food for like so the child won't starve. Many governments provide that aid, especially already mentioned the money that they pay. It's for the children, not for you, for the children. Do you understand? You should use it for your children. I bet those that don't do that, and yet they're complaining about, oh, government should do more for the children. Look, we pay billions, if not trillions, depending on the country, for education, for child support. We even have lines where the child can literally call, if the parents are abusing them, they can literally call authorities and their parents nowadays. So let that sink in. We give a lot of help, a lot of support for children. I happen to be a father. Yeah, would you believe it? I know. I know. There are a myriad of benefits. And if you ever march into the social office, or actually you are called to meetings where they tell you your rights and your benefits, that the government, at the moment you have a child, they literally send nurses to your house to check on the children in the first months and the first years of the child, depending in which country you're on. So that's not an excuse. Like, that's not even an excuse. That's not already an argument, because it's false. It's false. It's easily proven false. That's a lame excuse, and it's not even an excuse because it's not true. So what you're saying, that the government don't give enough? Oh man, the government gives a lot. And look, I criticize. If you doubt me, check my previous videos. I despise current governments because I think they're going the wrong way. But I have to give them that. When the topic is the children who will think of the children, governments think of the children a lot. They give a lot of money, a lot of funding. I think parents should step in and do more, because governments are doing what they can. So they're even going too far. And that's one of my criticisms about government. Let families have more power of decision, as it used to be, because it worked. Then the third so-called argument is that guilt by association. Is like they say, oh, that's coming from the conservatives. Because, and I read that. There are people who actually believe in that kind of, I don't know what to call that, paranoia, because it sounds like paranoia. When you are trying to say that, look, they write that. They seem to be under that impression that conservatives just want to control women. Look, if you take anything from this video, if you have reached that far, if there is one thing that conservatives cannot do, is to control current society. Okay? Because they lost that since the 60s. Since the 60s, conservatives became a mockery. Everybody started making fun because they realized the absurdities of the conservatives, especially when they go on Majibus, because Jibus tirade. People stopped taking them seriously since the 60s, okay? Effectively, officially 80s, when homosexualism became completely accepted. And, after the HIV fear, which was plausible, I watched some friends die of it. I gave my last hug because their own families refused to hug them. I gave my last homosexual friends their last hug because everybody feared touching them. It was horrifying. And one of the finest people I ever knew, one of the most fantastic, one of the most nice people I ever knew, passed away from HIV. I saw many pass away from that horrible disease. And I saw the stigma. And this is why homosexuals became accepted. Because people saw how they were treated, especially due to that disease, that horrible disease. And at some point, humanity kicked in and said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we are going too far with this. Maybe we should let them be. Which we did, and it was fantastic. One of the best things. Society gave a boom in the 80s in a way you cannot imagine. Isn't it funny? Everybody kind of misses the 80s. That's one of the reasons why. You had liberty. You could even be gay. Nobody gave a damn about who you were, as long as you were a nice person. We broke the last taboos then, so it's odd to see them coming back. And they're trying to blame the least influential people currently, conservatives. They are not an issue anymore nowadays. They're ridiculous. And every time that they start with their Jesus tirade, they should be taken such. Look, they have the right to believe in whatever they want, but don't try to press on us. I think we had enough of that in humanity, don't you think? So why are you trying to do that? The non-conservatives nowadays kind of are trying to. Well, it's enough. That's not what I want. I don't want to turn it into this false dichotomy because then people focus on that instead of the topic. Topic being, third so-called argument, my argument, is that they're trying to blame the conservatives because the conservatives want to control women. Look, if there's one thing conservatives don't do, and we have an entire history of society since the 60s, is to control women, okay? Women do exactly what they want. When some of the first DNA tests start coming out, I remember there was this episode in an American school and in several other schools that the science teacher, to make the DNA, the topic about biology, interesting, they decided to make tests for the class. DNA tests, to see, look, this is how you and your parents are connected. Look, this, only to find out that it was, I think, about 65% of the classroom that they did the test, the kids were actually not the children of the dad was not their dad. It was actually either, it's funny, kind of very specific dads in that specific society that actually fostered several kids in different families. That meaning women were just, when their husband was at work, they were doing something, whatever, with that specific dad from that other family. So I hope you get the point. Okay, if there's one thing that conservatives cannot do is to control women, so forget that. Okay, in the times they were shining, they couldn't. So, remember, go back to the beginning. If I said it in this video, I remade it because I didn't like the tone of the other one was too. Took one woman to force Congress to remove the rights of men and boys to be considered victims of rape. Okay? Was that woman a conservative? Obviously not. The government that let that woman for 30 years get away with If you think the statistics of rape, only show mostly men, statistically speaking, it's because of this 30-year gap where the one lawyer woman went to Congress and demanded that Congress changed and removed men and boys from being considered victims of rape. Let that sink in. So you come and tell me that conservatives want to control women. That alone is pretty hard evidence that conservatives can't control squat, okay? Especially currently. For 30 years, men and boys haven't been considered victims of rapes in any statistics, regardless if they were inserted burning rods into their rectum. No, that was not rape while performing against their will. That was not rape. It could be abuse, but not rape. So abuse is a demeanor, you understand, in comparison to rape. Can we agree? Because that's what it is. It's not a question of agreement even, right? There is abuse, like you kind of abuse someone, and then there's rape. You kind of literally, like the person is officially completely powerless. So, against their will. So, yeah. Conservatives don't control squat. They had a chance with the whole 2016 freedom of speech and meme wars and all that they had a voice again. No, that was not the conservatives. Those were the libertarians, which are very anti-conservative. They laugh at the whole idea of conservatism. So the people doing the meme wars turned on them, and just like that, all the conservative strength went away. Like they caved in, like they do in Congress whenever somebody calls them some word as, "Oh, you're a racist." They, no, I'm not a racist. I mean, it's ridiculous. Conservatives don't have a voice, okay? And if they do, nobody really listens to them, okay? Some people make money out of conservatives, but that's something else. Talking to you, Alex Jones. When you were brought to court to defend your ideas, the first thing you did, because the first thing he did was to cave in. Oh, it's just a joke. It's just like, I'm not really saying I don't believe in those things. I don't believe in any of that. It's just a joke. So it's just a ruse to get money from conservatives. But that's it. You understand? They're making money out of conservatives. They're not really conservatives. They don't give a rat's bum about conservatives. They just got a niche where they're making a lot of money. So conservatives don't have really respect. Okay, nobody really respects conservatives today. They find them ridiculous, and in a way, they kind of are. I have made videos about the flaws of conservative thinking and their actions that led, actually, if anything, it was what conservatives used to do that led to the whole socialist communist thing, because everybody could see that there were flaws in the conservative mindset, okay? The way they treated their daughters and their homosexual sons. So yeah, that didn't work well for them. So yeah, they don't control squat. So forget that. That's not an argument. Remember, one woman, 30 years, men and boys, not considered legally victims of rape, statistically and legally. So conservatives can't, even if they wanted, assuming that they wanted, they cannot. And another thing, guilt by association. So are you saying that everybody that is against the notion of abortion is a conservative by default? That's flawed. That's incorrect. I mean, I am a living example of that. I understand why abortion shouldn't be done, and I will share my perspective on it. And sure, you can agree or disagree. Your opinion at the end of the day is kind of irrelevant in a way if it is incorrect, because facts count more, regardless of all the persuasion and manipulation and whining and bitching and spurging and however you wish to put it. At the end of the day, that somebody very enlightened said, the truth is still the truth. So I take that. Don't you? And why shouldn't you? That's the thing that boils the noodles, huh? Why shouldn't you accept facts? Why shouldn't you stick to the truth? Am I in the wrong for sticking to the truth? And sure, whenever somebody say I have the truth, the hairs on my neck rise kind of. Ee! They usually don't, but I'm talking about facts. Anywho, I have my position on it, and it's a well balanced, well thought through, based on experiences, personal experiences. Even I have come to conclude abortion is not good for several reasons. But first of all, let me just finish the three so-called arguments. I already shown it's not. You can believe on it. That's another matter. People believe in the darnest things. Conservatives believe that pigs can fly, as far as they go. If there's a guy named Jesus that tell them to fly. So you understand, this is why people stop taking them seriously. Now I'm concerned that people might start taking the what they call in the U.S. liberals, but generally known as leftists, that are actually socialists, and we all socialists nowadays. Can I say that we're all socialists? We live in socialist regimes, for the very reason that if you buy a house, the house is not really yours; it's still the government. If you don't pay taxes, the property tax, they take the house from you. That's not a capitalistic regime. That's a socialist commitment. Okay, you don't own your house. That's an illusion. If you don't pay taxes for your house that you bought, good money, very expensive, they just take it from you. So the house is not yours, your car is not yours. There are many things that are totally not yours. So that's not a capitalistic, per definition, system. It's a socialist. So we are all socialists. That's a hard pill that many people have a hard time swallowing. But yeah, that's what we currently are. But that's again another topic. I digress. Let me return. So the three so-called arguments are not arguments at all, and in fact they serve the opposition. And the last one about everybody who disagrees with me is a conservative is pitiful, because I alone am living evidence. I'm not a conservative. I make fun of them. I criticize them. Some of the things they do or say, especially do. They can say whatever they want. I don't care. But when they do, I have a big issue with, because they ruin the lives of several people throughout history. Good people, great people, they ruined it. So I don't take it gladly in many ways if they want to push some of their beliefs. It's not even fact, it's belief. That's my biggest beef with them, and with the socialists as well. When they try to push belief on top of facts, that's when things go wrong, and they do go wrong in society, because facts are still facts. It doesn't matter what you believe in. If you go out in the rain, okay, that's a fact. If you go out in the rain without, like, naked, you will get wet, okay? That's it. It's a fact. There is no way around it. You can believe whatever you want to believe. You can believe that if you dance step forward, step back 3 times, you won't get wet if you go naked in the rain. But you will, if you put your hand in the fire, you'll burn your hand. That's another fact. There's no way around it. So you shouldn't put your hand. I learned it when I was a kid. You shouldn't put your hand in the fire, because it will burn. As much beautiful as it looks, as much tempting and warm and cozy it seems to be, If you put your hand there and you stick it for too long, it's going to get burned and it's going to hurt the fuck out of it. So, and then the maiden that is in the kitchen is going to laugh at you because you burned your hand. What a silly white kid you are. So let that sink in, okay? Facts are facts, and whatever you believe. And this is why things go wrong in our society. When we start pushing beliefs on top of facts, then things go wrong because facts will still, like the laws of physics, will still be applied. It doesn't matter what you believe in, okay? You can jump off a cliff, and I'm pretty sure that if the cliff is steep enough and the rocks below are sharp enough, you are not going to get out of it alive. It doesn't matter how much you believe that you are going to turn into a ball of dust or whatever it is that you believe on. You are going to jump into another reality. No, 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 no. We tried that during the 60s, people getting high in peyote and jumping off cliffs because Carlos Castaneda wrote so in his book, but they all died, okay, or got pretty badly injured. Um, Not really something you should try, okay? So beliefs, regardless of the side, okay, facts will still be facts. And the fact is, if you if you don't want children, somebody suggested something really interesting in those in the feed from the topic of Texas passing the abortion laws there. Maybe those women who are against, like, who are pro-abortion, maybe they should just have their ovaries removed or something of the sort, right? Since their body, their choice. That would be their body. That's not the body of a unborn human. That's their body. Maybe they should have their ovaries removed. That would be a solution. But I bet they are too selfish to do that, right? Because after all, their body, their choice. That's what would imply their body. You don't want to have children, then remove your ovaries. Okay, men are already doing before you say, then you should. Well, first I want to have children, so no, don't touch my pee-pee. Okay, if you are not into it, into having children, that is. My body, my choice. Do you understand? I agree. I agree with this argument, and this is the thing you don't realize that this argument works against you. That removes your right to even consider removing the unborn child because it's the unborn child's body, not yours. Get that straight. You don't have rights. If your argument is your body, your right, then you don't have the rights over the child's body, regardless. Do you understand? But yeah, men do a lot of vasectomy. A lot of men do it. My dad did it. This is why I was born. After I was born, do I need to get into that kind of details? Are you that clever? Anyway, men usually do vasectomies more commonly than women would remove their ovaries. Maybe those women should consider shutting it down there so they cannot have children. In a way, even to make it more fair, in a way that they could reattach or whatever when they want to have children. So maybe store their ovaries somewhere, and then one day, if they want to have children, just fertilize eggs or whatever. I'm not a biologist, so bear with me. But that's a solution. Your body, your choice. Okay, that's how far as your body goes. When you have fostered, like when there is a living creature in your body, like a human being, then because that's the base of your argument, right? Because you are a human being, your body, your choice. Okay, so when there is another human being growing on you, it's their body, their choice. and you should respect that. So remove your ovaries if you don't want to have children, because that's as far as your body, your choice argument goes. That's as far as your body pertains, your body and your body alone goes. Then shut down, because if your argument is, oh, men should do that, they do. They do. Many men do. It's more common than you think, than you believe. You understand? The problem here is belief, regardless of side. When the belief is absurd, then it's inconsistent, it's incorrect. Then why believe that? Many men do vasectomies, so that's not an argument anymore. That possibility is already available for men, and many men do. Many prominent men, if you think, Dr. Phil has done that. I just mentioned my dad. For me, he's very important. So you see, it's more natural, more normal for men to do that. So it's already a thing. Do you understand? Why don't you do the same? Equal right, right? Equal rights. Your argument is equal rights. Well, then, equal rights. You remove or cut or tie up your fallopian trunks, or however they call you, or they call it. You do that too, because men already do it. That's fair, right? Men already do it, do the same. Then you can go nuts. You can do anyone you want without even thinking, without even worrying about, what if I... No, you just do it. You understand? You tie it up or remove the ovaries. You can do as many. I would be happy. I would be happy to serve you if you just removed or tied it up, your ovaries. Fair. Men do it, you should do it too, right? Equal rights, right? Why try to just copy the negative in men? Try to copy the positive. You don't want children, you tie them up as well, because men already do it. Do you understand? The message here is men already doing it, so you have no argument that all men should do it. No, no, they want to have the men who want to have children, they want to have children. If you don't want to have children, you should do the same as men already do. Are you trying to I, I'm trying to get to you because some of those people have a preconcept, and but that's the fact. Men already do it. Do the same. Equal rights. Do the same. Men do it. Do it. Right? If men can do it, you can do it too. I believe in you. You should do it if you don't want to have children. But at the time that you chose not to do it, and you chose to engage in a sexual relationship, and don't blame society, don't blame the educational system, because as bad as our educational system is, and there is plenty of criticism to go about it, they still teach kids about sexuality, about, look, if you put the pee-pee in the papa, the thing comes out. Okay, if their parents don't do it because they happen to be conservatives and they're nut jobs, they're lost cause, the educational system, as poor as it is, does it. It tells the children, and today with the internet, I mean, do I need to get into detail about that? It's pretty evident that you can just do it. You have the education. You know about condoms. You know about prevention methods. They teach you in school. They have nurses. They have everything. So don't blame that. So despite knowing all this, and you still go and spread your legs, nothing wrong. I love it. Please, if you just want to spread your legs, come to me. I'm open for business. If you don't want children, I'm fine with that too. But don't kill them. You understand? If you decide, regardless of spreading your legs, what is a beautiful thing, you should be able to cope with the consequence. And before you jump in and say that, no, you shouldn't, are you starting to realize why shouldn't you? look, I know many feminists that happen to have a child, you know, and they chose to keep it because they were responsible human beings, and it is a beautiful thing, and I don't understand the fear of it. Look, and if you think that only women are being put fear into having that, men are put too. If I knew what I know now about children, I would have had children when I was 18, when I was 20. I had my own job, I had my own money, I could do it. I lived in my own house, I could do it. Um, because it's one of the best things in life, man. Sure, it's not for everyone, then don't have children. Then you know what to do. You tie it up or remove it, as men do, right? They tie it up, they cut it, they snip it. So you can do that too. Equal rights. So be responsible. You vote. You drive. You can just as well assume responsibility over a child, because if you chose to ignore all the prevention methods and all the knowledge, is not, we are not in the 19th century anymore, or early 20th century, where women didn't know what would happen if you put the coochie in the, they wouldn't know for sure. Like, believe me, like my grandmother told me that women believed that if they sat in a chair that was warm from a man, like a man sat in a chair, and then if the man left, but because women, I still saw the generation that the women would be standing with a available seat, but they would be standing and looking at the seat, and sometimes they would touch the seat before they sat down. And then one day I asked my grandma, like, she didn't do it, but other women, have some of her friends from her generation did it, and I thought it was very interesting. So I asked, and she told me that because it was believed, and women did it as habit, that if a man rose from the chair and it was still warm, you could get pregnant. Okay, that was the level. Behold the conservative reasons why people don't take conservatives seriously. Okay, because if they would ever come back, they would push all that nonsense up into people again. So, but be very wary, because the so-called liberal in the U.S., the socialists are starting to go in that tangent when they come with slogans as "my body, my choice" and all that nonsense, while they want to murder children, because that's basically what you're doing. Oh, but it's not a child because it's still in the womb, so it's a fetus. It's a human being, okay? It's a human being, and if you cannot see it as a human being, and you should, if you say, oh, they're not even shaped yet, that shows your ignorance. Check the pictures. It looks pretty much like a little human being, like a little baby for me. And I'm sure it will look for you too if you pass the delusion that you're currently under. All I'm saying, if you can drive and you can vote, you can just as well be responsible over your choices and what pertains, not murdering another human being. Just saying, right? I think that in this case, although people will do whatever they want to do, as they always done, um, as much as I bite my tongue into saying this, I have to give credit to the current Texas government for actually trying to do the right thing. What I would recommend, rather, was more information about what abortion actually causes in the woman, because it's not that your body stops right when you do the abortion. Your body just stops and returns to normal and no biggies. No, no, no. Your body will continue the whole process, plus in many cases guilt that will haunt you for until you live, as long as you live. And I know that because I saw many grandiose feminists, the beacon of their society, regretting utterly what they have done. I had to be the crying shoulder and hear their horrifying stories of all the horrible things they did and the way that they did it. To the point I felt uh, physically ill. Because I happen to be highly empathic if other people aren't. For whatever reason, if they have been indoctrinated, or if they are flat out evil, or they're just ignorant and they don't know what they're doing, whatever the reason. I'm very rational and I'm also empathic. And it's horrifying, the stories I heard from people I care about. It's strange. We think we have evolved. No, our technology has evolved. Majority of people are still clueless. And unfortunately, we have been following some wrong ideas and things are getting out of hand. As they did with the conservatives. So, yeah. In short, those three so-called arguments are not, and I have explained why. Of course, you can go and murder your unborn human. You can go and do it because it doesn't matter what I say, right? You want to prove a point and you're going to murder, but it's still murder, and you should just be conscious of what it is. Because I don't believe many people are being conscious at the current moment. It's more like a mass hysteria or madness, or a will to do evil. It's maybe frustration or feeling of not like you're not empowered, so you think that murdering a human unborn will somehow give you power. It's a very, it's not even irrational because irrational animals tend to nurture their offspring, not kill them. They tend they are more prone to feel good about it, and we should, because it's, I can tell, it is a beautiful experience. Sure, it's not for everyone, but then you know what to do, and you can do it. It's not like you don't have the tools or knowledge today of stopping whatever is it that you think is wrong. You can do it. But should you? That's the key. But yeah, I know I'm a man and you don't listen to men, right? But then you should check your reasons not to listen to me just because I'm a man. That's a bad way to go about things. And if you think like that, maybe, just maybe, consider it for a speck of a second. Forget my gender. Maybe you're not going about it the right way. Maybe it won't do you good, even if you think it does. You know, as conservatives, they used to think the most absurd things would make them better, which it doesn't. It made them hated. So, for good reasons, you know. So don't do the same. And again, those three claims, more than they are not arguments, so they are they're flawed at best and ridiculous at worst. Like nobody that gives a thought to it will agree with you. So maybe you're not thinking. So yeah, uh, just trying to help, doing my civic duty, whatever that means.